In this video, I want to cover going over and adding basically just some sway to it. So this will be our idle sway as well as for when we move. So right now, the only movement that we have when we're walking is from the lower body animation having an influence. So we want it to where when we're just sitting still, we want there to be some sway. And since we're on a single frame idle pose, there is none. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start working with the curves. Now to do this, we're going to go to the tutorial AK because that's what we're holding, our firearm component, our procedural anim component. Under the procedural section, come down to movement sway settings, make sure use movement sway is enabled. And here we have our location and rotation. Now, I already duplicated them, but I do provide the locomotion sway for the location and the rotation that is used for the M4. So let's go ahead and just see what that looks like. And as you can see, it is not very good. And that's due to the different axis. So what I'm going to do is basically all I did was I copied and pasted both of these guys here and made a new folder called curves and put them in there and renamed them to C_AK instead of M4. So we're going to start tweaking the curves. So we're going to get rid of the rotation curve and we're going to first do the location curve and focus on that. So let's go ahead and open up that. Make sure everything's saved and let's just start. So the first thing I notice is it is going forwards and back, but it's primarily only going down and left. So the down and left can make sure this is the location. It's most likely from the Z. So as you can see, it hits 0 and only goes down. So we're going to shift that. All right, that's going to grab all those. We're going to shift that up. Basically, we're going to actually make it match the Y. So I'm going to take the Y, shift it down by 1 just so I don't have them overlapping, and save. Let's make sure that resolves that problem. Okay, so now it goes up and to the left the rest of the way. And let's see if we can move just the Y down to replace where the Z was and see if that gives us more along the lines of what we want. So that is a no. So the Y is to the left and it should be to the right. So now it should just go right, which it does. Okay, so the Y we're going to want to keep basically in place of the Z. Now let's check the X, and I'm assuming this should be forward and back. Which I think it is, at least it looks kind of like it. Let's just drag it way down. Yeah, so that's forward and back. Okay, so we know what each axis does. So Z is up and down, Y is left to right, and X is forward and back. So let's see what we don't like about the motion currently. So I don't like that it's just kind of in that track up and down, kind of like diagonally like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the X and I'm going to crunch it down. Kind of like so. And I want to make this be in place of the Y. I'm going to open the Y up. And shift it over. This should kind of give it a little bit more random. Kind of like that. So that's just the typical, more of the figure 8 kind of pattern. All right, now let's look and we'll add the rotation. Okay, let's just see what it looks like with only the rotation. Okay, that's just a simple up and down with some roll. So I don't necessarily, Let's see, which axis would be the roll? Right, so I want to get rid of the roll here. So the roll looks like it's quite slow. So I'm going to check this and see if this grows over time. Then the x-axis should... Okay, so the x-axis is yaw. The y-axis is pitch. So the z-axis is our roll. So we're going to take this and we're going to shift it. I do want it to kind of favor the left side a little bit, but I do want it to go to the right a little bit. So we're going to shift it left, just get it out of sync with the y. Let's go back down to 0. Okay, so maybe it was just my mind. So if I go back up above 0, is that to the right? Yeah, so that's only to the right. So does this not bring it left? Okay, it does. So we're going to have it kind of bounce a little bit. So we're going to have it go a little to the right and a little left, just very subtly. So that way, when we add the locomotion or the location back, it's very subtle. Now with this is quite a bit. So what we're going to do is we want to scale it back. So I can't speak. The way we can do that is we can either shrink all these, or we can actually modify the multiplier. So if I do 0.2, we can see it is a lot less. That actually makes me want to drop the rotation by about half. And in my opinion, that's okay for now. And if we want to speed up the rate at which this plays, we can do so here. So if I bump the interpolation rate to 20, it should be zooming. Actually, this might be in conjunction with... Oh, wait, this is the interpolation. Never mind. So that's how fast it goes between new positions. I meant to say is it the interp speed? Never mind. I got the settings backwards. So if we were to alter the multiplier rate, such as when you go to steady aim. So for example, let's say we have it at 1, and then we call our function to change this multiplier to 0.2. And that would be indicative of our steady aim. This here controls how fast we go from 1 to 0.2. So that's all that does. So I got it backwards and mixed with something different. But yeah, in my opinion, that's not too bad. And that still allows us, so as we move, you can see it does move around more per step. Now I'm going to slow the character movement up even further. So I'm at 250 right now. Let's drop it down to 200. In my opinion, that's still too fast. We're going to do 180. All right, we'll do 175. All right, that's a little bit better. Quite frankly, the locomotion for the lower body is it is meant for third. Why am I going backwards? Oh, cool. I have a collision issue that I have to find. But yeah, it is not that great. It kind of does like a hop almost. But anyways, that's going to cover this video for the basics of setting up the location and the rotation sway. Just kind of a rough overview, because the next video I want to cover where you can hold an optic or anything else, for example, and use it to aim with and all that. So I will see you then.